The first step that every investor should take before they invest is due diligence. And that is with the purpose of not only minimizing risk, which is very important, but also maximizing returns. Welcome to today's episode. My name is Wendy Ojiro. I'm a realtor based in Nairobi, and in this video we're going to be talking about the due diligence process, which is basically investigating all aspects pertaining to your property before you commit to a purchase. Let's get into it. So due diligence is very important before you buy a property because one, you're putting a significant amount of money into this investment, and two, it is something that should serve you for the long term. So you should get into it with a clear picture of exactly what you are getting. So your due diligence should cover all aspects of the property: physical, legal, and financial. So today we'll look at the main things that you should be looking for while doing your due diligence. You should be working with professionals, the different professionals in the real estate sector: an agent, a lawyer, a surveyor, whichever service you need. But you need to remember that ultimately the responsibility lies with you, and you need to be aware of what is happening. And due diligence does not only stop at the title, but has very many different aspects that you should think of, which we'll get into in this video. Due diligence is not only the work of your lawyer, but you do it in collaboration with them so that you know that your investment will serve you and give you the best return possible. So number one, everything starts with the title. You have to do a search to make sure the person selling to you this property, are they the legal owner of the property, and do they have the rights to sell to you? You also need to find their identification. If it's an individual or if it's a company, you need to get their CR12, find out who the owner of the company is. If you're buying into an off-plan project, make sure that you know who are the owners of this property, and preferably buy from institutions, because individuals don't have very good structures, don't have a good track record. But when you buy into an institution, then you know that there's more structure, there's more checks and balances, and probably good governance over the project. So another thing you should check in your title deed: if it is a freehold, if it is a leasehold, if it is a leasehold property, check the number of years remaining in the lease. And if it is anything below 25 years, then I would consider that too risky and you should not proceed with it. Ideally, I think you should go with 45 years and above, just to be on the safe side. But anything below 25 years is a no-go zone. So please check this before proceeding with any property. How many years are remaining on the lease? The second thing that you should do is visit the site. Whenever you're interested in a property, you should physically visit the site. If you're available, go do it. But if not, then you should have somebody who you trust, who will go to the site and give you a true picture of what is happening. Where is this property located? Does it exist, first of all? Go find out where is it located. Is it a flood-prone area? Is it in a riparian area? Is it on a road reserve? How does the light come into the property? What's the shape of the land? A site visit is a very important part of due diligence because it gives you a better idea of what are the benefits of buying into a property. Is it a noisy neighborhood? Do you have easy access to roads? Do you have, if you're buying land, is there water? Is there electricity? Who are the neighbors? Neighbors are so important when you're doing your due diligence. So please do not skip this step. Do a site visit. Take your time to go to the site and thoroughly and objectively do a review of the site to make sure that your risks are as minimal as possible as you buy. Number 3 is valuation. If you can, get a valuer, but most transactions don't warrant a valuer. But if you're doing a significant transaction, you will want a professional opinion on valuation. But if not, you can do your own analysis together with your agent to find out what is the square meters of this property, what's the size of this property, what are the comparables in the market, given the quality of the property, the location, the features and amenities. Is this the right price for the property you're buying? You need to evaluate this very, very carefully and based on numbers, not just based on your feelings. Because in real estate, you make your money when you buy. So that's the time you should be most vigilant, because that's the time you lock in a price that will ensure that you get a good price upon your exit. Do not overpay for property. Make sure that you carefully look at location, size, quality, and amenities, and then you only pay what the property is worth. Then when we go to number 4 is you need to do due diligence on current market conditions. So where you want to buy, what is the rental demand? Who wants to buy there? So maybe you're buying a hostel. How many students are there? Maybe you're buying a hotel. Is it in a popular destination? Maybe you're buying something in a place where you have to properly understand who will rent my property and how much are they willing to pay for it. And that you can see, this is something that can easily be gauged. For example, if you look at Westlands coming up as a huge hub, you have both commercial and residential. Commercial real estate drives demand to residential real estate. So when you see all these multinationals opening their offices in Westlands, then naturally you know that demand for residential real estate will follow. When you look at all the industries along Mombasa Road and many businesses located along Mombasa Road, then that tells you naturally that the demand for residential real estate will follow. So please do an analysis to find out what is the current economy, can people afford, what is the direction of the market, are you buying into a market that has growth potential? Try and buy property in areas that are going to grow. Don't buy a property in a declining area. Try to get into the location when you have a chance for capital growth, when there's demand, when there's desirability. That is very important. The other thing you need to look at is the other approvals of the development. If you're buying into the development, make sure that you see the city council approvals, you see the NEMA approvals. Do not buy into any project that does not have approvals yet. It's basically a property that does not exist. So make sure that the developer sends all the relevant documents, the NCA approval, and everything else that you need. Have your lawyer verify them before you pay anything into the developer's account. Then when it comes to the physical aspects of due diligence, if it was already a built-up property, you need to go and inspect the property. If it's a piece of land, go with your surveyor and make sure, is this property really an acre? Go and measure. This is a place where I see people skimping a lot, but I assure you, the cost of a surveyor will save you much more, because usipime vitu na macho. Just take a professional, go verify the size of your land, and in case it's smaller, then the price should be adjusted accordingly. If it's a built property, go with a second pair of eyes, because some things you might not be able to see. Go and have a thorough inspection of the property. If you see any cracks, if you see any defects in the structure, find out, are these defects that can be ignored or do they need further professional attention? But do not buy a property before doing a thorough physical inspection, and then adjust accordingly, knowing should you negotiate a better price, better terms, or should you get the seller to do the repairs before you take over the property. Then when it comes to the last part, which is the financial aspects of due diligence, if you're buying a property that is already occupied, you need to thoroughly scrutinize the books to make sure what are the occupancy levels, what is the historic rent, what are the rent increments. You need to do a thorough run on the numbers so that you can compare how much you're paying for the property versus the ROI you will get. Same to properties that are new. You need to ask yourself, what are your goals? Is it capital growth? Is it getting an income? And then decide, is this the right property for me? Will it give me the right ROI that I want? If your target ROI is 10%, will this property help you achieve that? If your property, you want to buy it for retirement planning, will this help you achieve that? So do a proper scan on the numbers. So these are the main things that you should consider when you're doing your due diligence on your property. Take your time, work with professionals, and do not be afraid to ask questions. Ask. Visit the property as much as you need to, because this is a long-term investment that requires your time, your patience, and you need to be prudent with it. So if you have any questions regarding to due diligence, I will leave my email in the description box below, and you can reach out to me on any matters pertaining real estate.